We recently bought a Radio Shack toy from the 80s off eBay called the Executive Decision Maker. It's in this box, and the side of the box absolutely says yes, a cat owned me. It was mutual. As we unwrap this little executive treasure that we definitely did not need but bought anyway, I should remind you we already have its corporate cousin, the Executive Stress Eliminator. That one promises to relieve stress. This one just helps you make a decision, maybe. Now that it's out of its cardboard prison, let's take a look. We've got an on-off switch, a decision button, and wood grain on all four sides. So authentic it screams, I have a mid-level management job in 1983. Open the battery compartment and hey, this thing wants a 9-volt battery. And of course we have one somewhere. How long will it take for me to find it? Not long at all, because I tore the house apart before filming this. Let's pop it in carefully. This isn't even supposed to be a repair video unless I break the battery cover, which, let's be honest, that's always an option. It's fine. Crisis averted. Let's make a decision. Will anyone care that we made this video? And it says, ask again. Okay, bro, will this video light up the nostalgic hearts of Gen X? And the unit says, why not? Which I'm calling a weak yes. Okay. Final question. Have you ever? Answer, never. I knew it. An absolute no. Okay, powering down now to conserve our precious 9-volt juice. It's time for a face-off. Decision Maker versus Stress Eliminator. And you can see the differences. The Stress Eliminator has like a reddish display. The silver trim is fancier. The wood grain is basically the same, which is important because we're obviously grading fake wood finishes here. The Decision Maker speaker is smaller, which means less stress to eliminate, I guess. Also, the battery situation is different. Stress Eliminator runs on 2 AA's. That's casual executive. 9 volts is we mean business. All right, where do we put these? Let's ask the Decision Maker. Should I display both toys together? Answer, definitely. Oh, great. Should I second guess that answer? It says forget it. Okay, perfect. Up they go, right next to our Panasonic Marty McFly flip clock radio. That's a power trio right there. Now, if I ever need to make an important decision or remove my stress in a dramatically 80s way, this is where I'll come. Hey, final question. How often will I actually use these? Answer, never. Yeah, that tracks. I bought 3 Radio Shack Kube radios last year. Kube with a K, because this was the 1970s and correct spelling was optional. So when I discovered Radio Shack also made a Kube lighter, I bought it immediately, before the global community of Radio Shack Kube lighter enthusiasts woke up. It arrived promptly in a box that was much less suspicious than the one containing the Decision Maker. It may also be the best packed Radio Shack Kube I have ever received. The orange bubble wrap tells you the seller respects fragile electronics, safe shipping practices, and the possibility that gravity wants to destroy my new toy. There's a price tag scotch taped to the top, most likely from an estate sale. From a distance, it looks like the lighter has a Band-Aid on it, which is silly. And this is technically a piece of paper positioned next to the fire hole. It needs to go before the fire department gets involved. When I press the ignition button, we get a spark, and that's encouraging because it means the only remaining task is putting fuel inside. I assume this will be simple because, I'm usually unable to predict the future. First, though, I want to remove the Band-Aid. I've had some success removing old tape from stainless steel with Windex, so we give it the old college try. Before that, I attack it with my bare hands because college taught me nothing. And the price tag comes off, but that scotch tape is remaining firmly attached. It is no longer adhesive. It's a squatter. Now, the Windex makes its move. It has absolutely no effect on the tape. And although the tape is wetter, it seems ready to fight me. After considering my options, I bring out the 91% isopropyl alcohol and go to work again. At first, I think the tape is beginning to loosen. It isn't. I've merely cleaned and sterilized it. We could now safely perform surgery on the tape, but we still can't remove it. Then I remember I own Goo Gone. I originally bought it to remove caulk from the DeLorean time machine, which is a perfectly normal sentence describing a perfectly normal problem that I have. Scotch tape is sticky. Caulk is sticky. Goo Gone removes sticky things. This is my entire scientific review process. And unfortunately, the Goo Gone is oily, unpleasant, and completely ineffective. It spreads across the plastic wood grain, so I abort the operation and bring back the Windex from attempt number 1 to remove the product from attempt number 3. The Windex has finally found its purpose, and that's cleaning up after Goo Gone. After 3 failed attempts, I search online and find that the recommended solution is WD-40 and a plastic scraper. I already own WD-40 because none of my doors squeak. You're welcome, everyone in my house. All I need is a plastic knife, and I'm ready to begin my 4th organized assault on a piece of Scotch tape. The WD-40 goes on evenly, and when I apply the plastic knife, the tape immediately gives way. After resisting glass cleaner, medical-grade alcohol, and a chemical specifically named for making goo go away, it's defeated by door spray and picnic cutlery. The remaining tape scrapes off gently, and the plastic knife leaves no damage behind. I love a success story, especially one where the villain is transparent office tape. Next, I clean the top again, this time with Simple Green. I grab a magic eraser to work on the black carbon scorched around the center ring. Simple Green and a magic eraser make an excellent combination. After a few moments of scrubbing, the carbon begins to disappear, and soon that ring is clean, shiny, and reflective. If this lighter never produces a usable flame, it can still signal passing aircraft. I even bring the Cube inside to inspect it beneath a red alert light in my office. I'm not sure why I did that. Our final goal is to make the lighter actually light. There's no fuel in it, but there is a fuel port and a flame adjustment knob. I consider both of these as strong clues. I stop by a nearby sketchy vape shop and I buy a can of extra fine butane. I've never filled a lighter before, so please prepare your critiques. This process won't end well, and I know that because I'm recording the narration after I watched myself do it. On my first attempt, butane sprays everywhere, except into the fuel port. I assume I didn't make proper contact, so I try again. The second attempt produces the same result, which is useful because now the failure has been independently verified. Then, I notice several small plastic adapters inside the blue cap of the butane can. One of these should fit over the nozzle and create a better seal, right? I remove several before finding one that looks like a promising candidate. The adapter fits, we assume the position, and I pump some fuel into the Cube. The instructions say to wait 2 minutes before lighting it. I assume this gives any spilled fuel time to evaporate and gives the person holding the lighter time to reconsider the larger sequence of decisions that brought them here. After 2 minutes, I press the ignition button. There's a tiny visible flame, but it doesn't look correct. It appears the lighter has successfully produced fire, although most of that fire is happening inside the lighter housing. I watch it briefly because I've decided observation is a form of fire suppression, and then I blow it out. At this point, I need to consult with someone who understands vintage lighters, but I'm still marking the mission as accomplished. We removed the tape, we cleaned away the carbon, restored the shine, and confirmed that the lighter can light one thing: itself. We began with a dirty lighter that didn't work, and finished with a beautiful lighter that works dangerously. The Radio Shack Vox Clock is our final eBay acquisition in the category of cube-shaped devices designed to entertain one specific man in the 1980s. This one speaks and tells you the time whenever you press the button on top. The entire top is a large silver speaker grill, which makes sense because this cube is approximately 95% speaker and 5% clock. Time occupies very little physical space. The seller says it works, although the top button on these is notorious for failing. That's okay because our real goal is to make the cube announce the time every hour, on the hour. One of my superpowers is arriving at meetings 2 minutes late. About 95% of the time, it's because I stayed in the previous meeting too long. The other 5% is because I'm an absent-minded professor who does not work at a university. We need 3 AAA batteries, so we retrieve them from the bag of batteries in our kitchen. This is where we store spare batteries, magic erasers, and enough bottles of foaming hand soap to survive at least a dozen dirt emergencies. As soon as the final battery goes in, we have signs of life. Nah, that doesn't sound like a cube telling us the time. Let's press the button on top and see what happens. Nothing. The seller was right about 2 things. This is a Vox Clock, and the top button is definitely original. There are several buttons on the bottom, including a switch labeled in and out. It's currently set to in, and I have no idea what that means. So let's move it to out, because that's the other word. Oh, we got a short beep. Okay, let's press everything.
1 a.m. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 002, it's 6:02 p.m.
These buttons appear to set the current time. That's useful. The last one I pressed was set, which makes the clock announce the time, although it probably also resets the seconds to 0. We're making progress, provided nobody needs to know the time from the top of the clock. Moving the switch back to in produces the long beep again. Okay, the in and out switch is probably the key to getting the hourly announcement we want. We fiddle with settings for a few more minutes, carefully alternating between informed experimentation and pressing the same buttons with greater authority. Eventually, we throw in the towel. We may repair the top button later. I found videos showing how it can be done, which means another person has experienced this exact problem and was organized enough to record a solution. But for now, we're calling this a success. The Vox Clock will announce the time every hour on the hour, which is exactly what we wanted. It just won't tell us the time when we ask, which gives the relationship kind of a healthy boundary. Let's place cube number 7 beside its plastic wood grain brothers. Will we find an 8th cube? I don't know. But if we do, the Best Dad Bod trophy has been informed that its position is temporary. Our collection can now help us make a decision, start a fire, or learn what time it is. This is also the exact order in which those services should be used. And hey, did you enjoy the video? If so, please leave us a like. Every week we find another piece of oddball retro technology and attempt to figure out how it works before it figures out how we work. If that sounds interesting, please consider subscribing. And if plastic wood grain cube that creates fire was all the information you needed, hit the notification bell so you'll know when our next video premieres. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and as always, woot!